Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another gameplay video. In today's video, we have myself on the bottom playing Red Broly. On the top, James is playing Dark Broly. So a little battle of the Brolys for you guys, but this is some Set 11 gameplay. So pretty cool to see here, you know, a little less than a month before Set 11 releases. So we definitely want to start showcasing what some of these decks can do. And this is pretty cool because it is an aggro mirror. It's a very interesting matchup. I think we tested it 4 times that day and ended up going 2-2 back and forth. So it's a pretty cool matchup. And it definitely taught me some things about Red Broly for sure. But here, my start is very, very weak. I don't have a 1-drop Broly, and you know, that forces me to go and get Planet Vampa, which in this matchup, you don't really want Planet Vampa because of the fact that it forces you to take life, and it's not really like a hard plus. You know, you take a life, you play a guy, but then you discard a card. So that's not what you want in an aggro matchup. You want a plus as early as possible against aggression like this. And unfortunately, even further, more unfortunately, Planet Vampa gets me a Paragus, which gets me a Broly, instead of Vampa getting me the Broly directly. So that means my plays are, getting into the chain is basically going to cost me 1 more additional energy, which is kind of unfortunate. But that's okay because the 1-drop Broly is very, very good. You play him, he crits a life, you get Ba from the deck, and that's going to help me search my 3-drop Broly, which I'm missing at the moment. So James here on turn 1. Not like a ton you can do on turn 1, but we did play one game where I played the 1-drop Broly out on turn 1, and he was able to remove it turn 1 with one of his Dark Brolys. So that actually hurts a lot. I combo the Paragus here because 1, it has unique, and 2, I just want to mitigate a little bit of damage. That's an easier attack to combo out of, so I'll just combo out of it there. He sets up with the Toa. This Toa can sacrifice any 30k battle card, including itself, to add another 30k from the drop back to the hand. So that's pretty solid there. You'll notice too that James has Mira in his drop, which is definitely a card he may end up recycling later on. So we're playing Broly, getting into Ba. Nice thing about Ba, once again, is even though I do have the crit life to play it, it is a blocker, and it sets me up for the next part of my Broly chain, which is actually pretty nice to see. So we're getting the 3-drop to hand. I really wish that the 1-drop Brolys were just, you know, one card, or combined into the same card, I mean, because, you know, this 1-drop gets Ba, that's amazing. The other 1-drop is actually a threatening attacker, which is also really good. But I guess maybe if they're the same card, it'd be a little bit too stupid, but definitely really strong there. Going into the Paragus off the 3-drop Broly, getting the 1 Broly that we're missing. So we are looking to be recovering a little bit. Looking a little bit better here. Shuffling up. Now the question is, do I want to be aggressive here? Because if I attack with my 3-drop, it's very possibly going to get KO'd. Which can be a big problem. I'm going 10k crit at his leader, but back to what I was saying, he has the ability to remove my 3-drop anyway, which is kind of unfortunate. But I think if I leave him at 6 here, I guess we are attacking anyway. I noticed in a few of the games that where I left him at 6, where he couldn't awaken all in one turn, it was a little bit better for me, just because, you know, he couldn't get 3 in his drop from his front side and 3 in his drop from his back side. It made him go through a few more hoops to get some Dark Broly plays going, which I thought was pretty good. But I do get to go into the 4-drop here, which gets a card out of his hand. I don't know at the moment if he has a Dark Broly, the warping one at least, in his drop area. If he did, I might be in for a little bit of trouble here. But we'll see what ends up happening on James's turn 2. Now turn 2 is where Dark Broly can do a lot of stuff, especially like in this situation where he's ready to awaken. He can get a lot of battle cards on the board, and man, those big 30ks, it's really reminiscent of Skillless, but these ones cost 0 energy, which is pretty crazy. Now they have balanced Dark Broly in certain ways, like the fact that you can't combo any of your battle cards onto the Dark Broly attacks, only really into the leader. That is pretty good. That is pretty good balance wise, but the fact that you can play like 3 30ks a turn, it does take a decent amount of setup to do that. But consistently, I would say you dropping at least 1 to 2 30ks every single turn. That's pretty crazy strong. It is a really strong deck, not a weak deck by any margin. So he's going leader into leader here. He's gonna awaken, and that's how he gets the most plus, because now he can activate man on his backside to draw an additional card. That there is a little bit unbalanced when leaders can do that. There are a pretty decent amount of leaders in set 11 that can do that. Dark Broly, Yellow Gohan, SS4 Goku, I believe, can do the same thing. So looks like we're waiting to see what James is going to do here. I'm taking the leader swing. He is going to warp my 4-drop, which is unfortunate because I'm not on my awaken side, so I can't save my chain. But I do have the ability to just go, you know, 1 back into 3, back into 4. I will have 5 energy to play with next turn, which is pretty good. But we'll see how much damage I'm forced to take this turn. So it looks like James is going to super combo there on the 40k. Really wants me to take damage here. Depending on what his drop area looks like, he could potentially like Mira Champa me this turn, which is actually pretty scary. So we'll see what he has following up this Broly attack. Now you'll see that SS3 Goku in my drop area. In the games that I won against this matchup, that card was absolutely vital because it was just the last double strike I needed to go through for game. You know, he can defend my big Broly's pretty well with one card you'll probably see in this matchup, Protector of the People. But besides that, the SS3 Goku was one of the best game enders for me in this matchup. So now, you know, since we're playing against a black deck, we know that they're not very fluid in energy. He's already awakened, so he can't, you know, and the leader is untap energy on awaken anyway. But regardless, we know he only has 1 more energy to play with. So we don't have to worry about Mira Champa. We still have to worry about a Mira, but not necessarily a Mira Champa, which is pretty reassuring to say the least. I don't really think I'm dying this turn, but he will leave an energy up, and that Protector of the People is kind of scary. So it looks like he's tapping his final energy. So it looks like he will tap out this turn. Oh, maybe not. Okay, so James is going to decide, okay, let me play a little more passively. Let me keep this energy open for Protector, because Protector really does a lot of work against Red Broly. It really, really does. It's like Violent Rays in Red Broly and Protector of the People in Dark Broly. Those are the cards you need for these in particular matchups, right? You know, they are both very, very good cards in this matchup. Yeah, one of the other problems too is the Kale Unison is a little bit too costly, or maybe not energy costly, but it's a little too time costly, if that makes sense in this matchup. I don't have enough time to ramp it up to 7, which is pretty unfortunate. Also unfortunate, my 1-drop getting Super Kamehameha. Man, that hurts. That really hurts my my abilities to put pressure on here. I may have to go into Planet Vampa. Yeah, it looks like I'm forced to activate Planet Vampa here. So we'll look at the top 7. We do get a Broly 1-drop, and it's not a bad Broly 1-drop by any means. It's the one that gains 15k when you have a Ba in play. And I do have this deck list on the Patreon. If you guys are interested in checking it out, definitely go down there and check it out. Help support the channel a lot. But with that being said, we have the 1-drop coming into play. 15k attacker, not bad. We'll pitch the Yamcha because we don't have a counter. We don't have a Unison to activate its counterplay. There's Protector of the People. Now, there's a really interesting dynamic here when he activates Protector of the People. My battle cards are still relatively big in the sense that I can still swap them into my Broly chains. And yeah, his leader will boost up by 5, but my Brolys are still big enough to do damage. So I will be in a situation where I can force him to use more and more cards. So I am going to try and force him to combo here a little bit, but it's still not looking great for me. So we are going to go to 24k on this swing. I think this is a slight misplay, actually. I think I should have just went straight into the Broly 4-drop instead of swinging with this 19k. I think that would have been a better play, actually. So I would have awakened, swung with 20k crit while he was still 15, and Protector of the People does not boost when a leader swings. So I actually think that would have been a little bit better to do there. Probably a slight misplay on my part. So here we have 20k at 20k. Again, I think this would have been better if I did this the other way, if that makes sense. Would have pretty much been the same result, except I actually would have kept a Paragus on my field, which would have been kind of nice. One of the other problems too is that Topo is not even really viable this matchup because of Super Kamehameha. You know, I try and leave 200 open for Topo, and he can really easily get me with that Super Kamehameha. Violent Raise is a really good card in this matchup. I'm still trying to decide whether I want to main deck Violent Raise or just sideboard it. It is really good in a lot of matchups, but it's not good in every matchup. But I do think Wolfang Fist is less important than I initially thought, because people aren't really trying to kill my Unison from my experience playing Red Broly. In one turn, it just gets too many markers for my opponent to try and overcome it. So maybe it will be Violent Raise in the main deck. And I will say that if you do main deck Violent Raise, search Violent Raise over Planet Vampa if you have access to your 1-drop Broly turn 1. You know, sometimes you have to get Vampa because you need to get into your chain, but if you can afford to do it, definitely search Violent Raise against this deck if you don't have access to it early on. And what we're doing here is we're swinging for a really big crit, and again, I'm searching for that SS3 Goku Overwhelm. I really need that to try and force the game out here, because I'm pretty confident that he's gonna combo out of this 45k crit. I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to go to 1, and that he doesn't want to take this big crit. But we'll see what James opts to do here. If he does take it, I can play Bardock the Resolute, which is another thing that I'm playing for. Still kind of confident he'd probably out combo it, but we have to try, right? We have to try, because pretty much if we don't win this turn, we're pretty much dead. So he does out combo that. I'm pretty much dead in the water here, as unfortunate as it is to say. But he has comboed quite a few cards, so maybe I'll be okay on the next turn. Although 2 30k swingers is going to be very tough to deal with without negates. So we'll see how the turn progresses. I do have a blocker for one of them. He is most likely going to just warp it away, though. We'll see what happens with that. So we are swapping into 3. We are able to get a Paragus on board because of that. So we're just plussing a little bit here. You know, I don't have anything in my hand that is going to require energy. So with that being the case, I don't really mind tapping out. You know, I'll keep one open in case I draw a negate off my life, let's just say. Or I could even tap into the 4-drop to get another card out of his hand. That doesn't seem too bad either, again, because none of my cards in my hand require energy to be comboed with. Yep, looks like we will swap into 4 just to get another card out of his hand. Looks like we're really strongly debating about it here. Yep, we're gonna decide to go into the 4-drop for that reason, get another card out of his hand, essentially giving him less combo power, because we know he doesn't have combo power on his battle cards unless he has a super combo or like a 10k combo, right? Or if you swing with the Mira, that's just infinite attack damage. But every 0 cost 30k in his hand is a 5k combo for his leader, if that makes sense. So looks like he is using the leader to put cards back into his drop. And I think I saw that he has 17 in his drop, so that means I'm probably getting 3 Brolys dropped to me this turn, which yeah, I can't really do too much about, unfortunately, in terms of defending against it. So he does warp the blocker. He does swing at life. I'll take it there. I really don't have a choice. He can just go all in on the leader here, but he can generate more technically free combo power if he brings some of his Dark Brolys back from the drop, which it looks like he will do just that. Tapping one for a Broly with a Dark Dragon Ball. Yeah, so here he's just dropping as many Brolys as he possibly can, and that is going to hurt a lot. And then there's the mirror for game. So that's pretty much going to wrap up this game here, guys. At this point, you can combo his entire hand and swing in with the Mira, and I had nothing to defend against that. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Again, I mentioned before, this matchup was pretty back and forth. I think Violent Raise is a really big determinant in whether or not, you know, this matchup is positive for Broly. So with that being said, guys, let me know in the comments below what you think. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.